You are welcome to the second episode of this lecture. I remain Dr. Wada Ibrahim. This is a continuation of the lecture Data Processing in Library and Information Science. And you can see that we've already run through the introductory part where I introduced you. I told you a lot of things we are going to achieve in this course. This is the second part, and I'm going to be telling you, we're going to be going on the operational definitions and the conceptualization. And I want you to pay attention because I'll be giving you specific examples to clarify everything. Here is data input on coding sheets. And what do we mean by that? As you can read here, it means data input. It means the process of recording raw data systematically in a format that can be transferred to a statistical package. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's assume I open a new environment now and I want to prepare my coding sheet. The first thing I need to do is I'm going to use the example of a table. This is a table, and first of all, I'm going to label it as maybe number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. What I mean by this sheet is that you have to have something like this. Manually, it could be a paper where you draw your line. You draw your line so that you don't get confused. And take, for example, you want to put something like male. You know you are on this line. Anything that you are dealing with, maybe you are dealing with gender. Anything about gender is going to be here. Maybe on this part you are going to be dealing with educational qualification. You know, on this column you'll be dealing with educational qualification. Maybe here you are talking about age range. So you have a paper or a document or a material that helps you arrange everything that you want to do so that you minimize space and then you maximize efficiency. You can see if I want to deal with anything that has to do with gender of my respondent, I will put everything here. And anything about the educational qualification will be aligned. Take, for example, maybe a male. I will have a male. My respondent, I have a male. My respondent may be female again. My respondent may be male. You can see that it's going to be very easy for you to count or to understand how many male you have, how many female you have. So you may even decide to highlight so that you know that this is the heading. Sorry, since this is the heading, this one I will delete this one, and this one is going to be, I can highlight it. I use automatic way of numbering to put numbers there. You can see, or you can even do it manually where you put your you can even do it manually by, since if you're using paper, you have to do it manually. All right, so you see, you can do it in education. You can do it in automatically if you're using a system. So for educational qualification, maybe first degree, for example, maybe here is a first degree is normal. Maybe second degree, and you can even start by, maybe you can start saying by this one is diploma. Maybe a degree. With degree, master, PhD, and maybe master degree. And the age you can specifically put something that. So what we are learning here, what I want to make you understand here is this is a sheet that you have to have something like this to guide you, so that whenever you are going to be entering your data, it will be easy for you. So, and I define it as it typically involve assigning specific value to a different response option, and then organizing data by variables and cases. A coding sheet serves as a reference to ensure consistency when entering data. And so you see, whenever you have your male and female here, you can even go ahead to okay, when what you refer to male is I'll expand that. I'll expand on that. I can see this one referred to 1, this one referring to 2, this one referring to 2, and so on and so forth. That is all you need to know about this. So it's actually very, very simple. Sorry, excuse me. So the next thing you need to look at now is a coding guide on computer coding sheet. Here we talk about the manual paper. We'll talk about manual, or something that you can have like a paper or a document handy that you use your hand to write. And let me also emphasize something again. In addition to maybe gender here, you find out that you may say whenever you have a male, you are referring it to 1. You have a female, you give it a code of 2, and maybe maybe here too, when we say diploma, you give it 1. So for example, degree or first degree, okay, a 2, maybe it's master, give it 3, PhD, 4. So whenever you are going to be entering your data, where you need to enter male, you enter 1, and that means that this 1 as a value represents the male, 2 as a value represents female, and so on and so forth. So under educational qualification, that's exactly what you do too. So whenever your system, whenever you want to, you enter 1, you are referring to diploma, and so on and so forth until you come to PhD. This one, we are talking about using normal paper to define your code, to assign code to your variables. So the second part here is when you are using a computer, which is exactly what I'm doing now. So it's virtually not different. So this one refers to where you don't have a computer, you just want to do it manually first before you go to a business center, or before you go to a computer, before you begin to actually enter your data into the package, the system, application you're going to be using. Whereas here you use computer to do everything that you are doing. So you see here I use computer and I'm able to create a table. I can even decide to use Microsoft Excel. Let me load the Microsoft Excel. This Microsoft Excel, I can say whenever I have male, I'm referring to 1, and whenever I type female, female is represented by 2, and so on and so forth. I can come down here and say, okay, first degree to, maybe you can even give it the heading. Maybe I right click, give it a heading. Here is gender, right? And then you bolding it. You can even give it a color. So you come here, you now say educational qualification, and then you also give it, and then you say diploma, for example, degree, master, PhD, maybe postdoc, something like that. And you decide to give them a particular kind of value so that you remember what you are doing. So when you do this type of, you define your variable and you define the corresponding code, you are actually preparing the guide that will help you. You are preparing the coding guide that will help you, that simplifies your work. You can see as I give example here. All right, and so on and so forth. And the next part of the course that we're going to be looking at in detail is the statistical package for social science, which is SPSS statistical analysis package. And here is an application. This is an application that you need to install in your computer. For example, here now I already have it installed. So if you want to load it, you need to download it. You understand? You need to go online and purchase it. You can buy it. Type SPSS, or IBM download. You go to their web page or website, and then you purchase one. You can even download it. I use for free for sometimes. I already have it downloaded. So, and then you run it. This is how the SPSS look like. The two things that you need to notice here is the data view and the variable view. This is where you define the names, like when we're talking about gender. Take for example, let me take you up here. This is number 1. I can see gender. I can see educational qualification, right? And at the data view, this is where you enter. You can see that I have my gender here and I have my educational qualification here. And so whenever this is how it looks like, and then from here you can continue to do other things that you need to do. But there are other things that you need to define, like where I put gender here and I put educational qualification here, as I just showed you now. You need to define the variable, the value that we just mentioned now. You need to actually define the value, and we're going to be looking at it much later on. So how do we do that? We're going to be I'll be showing you how you put your label, and then the value that we're talking about now. This is the value. So how you are going to be entering your value here, and then I'll be showing you much later on as we continue to advance in our training. And then, but this is the SPSS actually. So you have SPSS, it's a package. You use it for different things, for t-tests, for analysis of variance, for regression, for different kind of statistical, discrete statistical analysis, even advanced analysis, including parametric tests and non-parametric tests. It's actually widely used by almost every researcher, even though there are other competitive applications. But SPSS is actually very, very popular, and that's just it. So it's very simple. I will introduce you to some of the functions and features that it has that you are going to be using to analyze your data. And so now the next thing that we are going to be looking at is setting up a data file. This is setting up a data file, and it's going to involve creating a structure file in SPSS or similar software that defines variable names, types, labels. I just finished show you partly what I'm talking about here now. Setting up a data file is coming up here, writing mean defining your names, that the name, right? Let me just zoom in so that you can see defining the name, and then here mostly we normally don't bother about it, right? But some people take it to 10. That is the width, the length, the width, I mean the width of the data. The decimal number, we are going to be seeing it practically much later on, whether it should be 0 or what do we mean by being 0 or 2 by default. And then the label, for example, here label will refer to maybe the can fully type as gender of the maybe respondent, or maybe the respondent can be librarian, or you can just be specific, or gender of student. And then you also give label, you will now fully talk about the educational, because I mean qualification of the student. The reason why we need labeling is because here you can only type one single word. Even if you have, like now we're talking about educational qualification, you need to add conjunct them, like using underscore, something like maybe hyphen is not allowed. You cannot separate name. Name has to be one single thing. Take for example, I want to give it name like age range. System will complain that the variable name contains an illegal character simply because I keep a space. So here you can just say age, and then you put underscore range, and it will accept it, or you just type age. But here you can define it fully. That's what we mean by label, like age of the student, for example. And you see that is justice. And then here is one of the most important place that you need to pay attention to. Here is the value. Take for example, I have gender. I'm working on gender, and you remember when we were talking about, let me show you something. Let me zoom in. When we're talking about coding at the beginning, I showed you this. This is your coding sheet or guide, where we say male refers to 1, female could refer to 2, diploma is 1, degree is 1, and so on and so forth. This is exactly where you experiment them. This is exactly where you put them. Let me show it to you right now. Here, you are going to click here, and when I type 1 here to the value, the label will be maybe male, and you add, and then when it says number 2 now will now be female, like that, and then you click OK. You have assigned the value. Let me show you on the variable, the data side. You will definitely see it here, but what you need to notice is that whenever you're going to be entering the data, when a questionnaire is filled, or yes, data is collected, the first respondent, if it's a male, you are going to be entering 1, just as I'm doing. The second instrument you carry and you are entering the data, maybe it's a male, you enter 1, like that. And then number 4, maybe the fourth instrument for data collection as I enter, maybe it's a female. This time you are going to be entering 2, like that. So computer will understand that whenever you, because of what we just did in the variable view, where we assign value, when we assign value to them, where we define it like this, the computer will now understand that, oh, what you mean by 1 is male and what you simply mean by 1 is female. And that is what we refer to as setting up a data file. And because I don't want this video to be long, I would like to stop here and thank you for listening, and God bless all of us. When I come back, I will continue on the topic number 5, where I'll be dealing with the Windows method of handling SPSS, and then we'll see how I already told you that I won't be talking much about the syntax method because it requires writing of codes. we are going to be dwelling on using the click and go, where we use, and that will be okay for us. Don't forget to click on the notification button and click on like as we move along. Make sure you share this lecture to all your classmates, and everybody must watch again and again so that you don't miss out questions on test and examination. And that's exactly how I expect you to behave at the end of the day. I wouldn't want to sit to sure, but somebody will tell me that because physical lecture is not conducted, you don't have data, you don't have computer. No, you can form a group and you use one single computer or one single smartphone to watch and listen, and then carefully experiment some of the experiment almost everything that we have taught ourselves here. Thank you and God bless you. I'll see you again in the next lecture. I remain Dr. Wada Ibrahim.